Hey, my esteemed colleagues for today's discussion are Ryan Glasnow, Senior Director of Data Governance at Informatica. Ryan, you want to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Chris. As Chris said, Ryan Glasnow, Senior Director of Data Governance at Informatica. I lead our data governance sales specialist team. So have a world-class team of folks here that are helping other practitioners in their journey and helping to solve those problems with technology.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ryan. And we also have Deepak. Deepak is our practice leader for our data governance and data management. Deepak, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Chris. My name is Deepak Rameswarapu. I have been a couple of decades of data management experience and a practitioner. Been with Informatica myself for close to 8 years and joined Paradigm to help a lot of our customers succeed in their AI and data management initiatives.
Well, I'm really excited to have you guys with me today and to talk about empowering your AI. I'm Chris Gately. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Paradigm. I'll be your moderator for today's discussion. And I've been in technology for about 24 years and have had great opportunity to work extensively with data and extensively with Paradigm and our teams and our clients. Let me give you a little background on Paradigm. Paradigm was started about 30 years ago. We've had the great fortune of serving clients in Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000. And the great news is we've got a maniacal focus on the business value of what we deliver, what we call the power of Paradigm. What that is, it's really understanding our client's vision for their business, driving innovative solutions, and most importantly, identifying and communicating that quantifiable value that we deliver to them. We're fortunate to work with incredible partners like Informatica. We've been an Informatica Platinum partner for over, I guess, 8 years now. They are the leaders in turning data chaos into data clarity. So I can't think of a better group of folks to have with us than Informatica today as we talk about governing data. Again, our focus today is empowering your AI with governed data. Some of the key facts I thought you might find interesting. The global market for AI data management is currently at $25 billion today. It's projected to grow to 70 billion in the next 4 years. That's pretty significant growth, and I think that is actually conservative growth based on the acceleration that AI has been having in the industry and the impact. The biggest challenge that our clients are really seeing, though, is really moving AI from test into production. And part of that challenge is really the data management, quality of the data, and things of that nature. So that's why we're going to dig into some of that today. Gartner, some of the key facts that they've brought to the table are that 54% of AI projects, only 54% make it from pilot to production. The other key fact is that data is the foundation for AI, and data is the key to successful digital business. There are also another comment that were key from them is by 2026, enterprises that have adopted data and AI engineering practices will outperform their peers in the number and time it takes to operationalize AI models by at least 25%. So by adopting it now, having the right execution model, you can outperform your peers by 25%. Pretty impactful stuff. So let's get into the actual topics itself. The first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is really that laying the foundation. Data is critical for building block for any AI use cases. Ryan, can you give me your perspective on it and what you've seen from your clients in this space?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I mean, when you look at it and you said it right, data is the absolute foundation for that, right? You should not really move forward building an AI model without good data, right? Data is going to be the lifeblood of your AI system. And really without that quality data, they're not going to be able to properly learn, adapt, make informed decisions. You're not going to be able to control certain things around the AI, like bias things. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And on the slide here, and this is from Gartner, 85%. And this is also conservative. I've seen numbers upwards in the low 90s of AI models that aren't moving into production, and that's leading to a lot of wasted time and effort and the failure that's really around that. So that foundation of not having good data is really kind of shaky, and that kind of puts the rest of that at risk. You mentioned, Chris, my role. I get the opportunity to speak with practitioners in all various different types of organizations who have had success with AI, specifically with being able to lean into having great data with that. And three examples. One, healthcare around predictive analytics. This was with the Mayo Clinic, of where they were using AI and analysis to do the pathology images and putting patient records together to look for early cancer detection. Another within finance. This is a company that we all know is with PayPal around fraud protection. So how have they been able to do more real-time detection, being able to reduce those different fraudulent transactions? And the last one is really around personalized marketing within Amazon, and being able to analyze all of that data, being able to better understand purchasing habits and have really kind of specific, detailed, or specific customer delivery recommendations for that. So again, none of those companies would have been able to be successful without a strong foundation of data. And at Informatica, we have a saying here as well that everyone is ready for data except your AI.
I love that. That's great. Everyone's ready for their data except for AI. Deepak, what are your thoughts?
So day in my life, just like Ryan, I get to meet a lot of executives, a lot of C-level. So the conversation starter generally when I go to these meetings is that, okay, now as AI becomes increasingly integrated in the lives, where do we strike the balance for autonomy and the importance of human control, right? How do you ensure that the models which are being piloted have the right data, right privacy, right data quality to kind of go into a production and help the society as a whole, right? In some of these, so let me double click on the use cases specifically, which we get into the conversations with many of the enterprises, just like how Ryan explained, whether it is PayPal, Mayo Clinic, or similar organizations, is that what is the main thing which our customers are asking for is, how can I use AI in the context of proprietary data, organizational data, and get the insights required? How do I use the architectures which require vector databases? How do I use the RAG, which is the retrieval augmentation, and some of the data lake house architectures, and so forth? Now, these are fundamentally for some of the use cases which are being used, which is something like content creation, ability to automate a lot of human processes for whether it's sales, email, blogs, automated reporting, and so forth, or actually redefining customer experience in a way that there is AI chatbots which increasingly understand the context of what you're asking and give the relevant answers. And then inside the companies as well, whether if it's a content management, if it's a knowledge management, you ask a question, not really going to look whether it's a data question, whether it's a documentation question, or whether it is an unparsed or a question which is the answer is in a PDF or a picture. Ability to ask this and then get a context aware. And then the main thing, again, from the IT and the tech folks is, how do I get our development teams work much smarter, much harder, much smarter with the help of AI, right? How do I improve the productivity, efficiencies, and so forth?
No, those are great points, Deepak, especially, trying to drive that productivity, try to drive that context. And really, you brought out the point with knowledge management, right? Using NLP to really drive the effective contextualization of what's going on. But you can't do that without the right data. And, Ryan, your example in finance of fraud protection with PayPal, that's a very, very key piece. Especially, regulation also is a key piece overall as a topic, right? There's a lot of new AI regulations and safeguarding of risks. Do you guys have some thoughts, or how are you handling that, Ryan, in the Informatica world and with your clients?
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously starting to see a lot more regulations come in like this. I kind of look back at what was going on with GDPR back in 2017, 2018. But a great example right now is the EU AI Act, which is really aimed at ensuring the safe and ethical use of AI technologies. And in order to really safeguard against these, I firmly believe having a strong data governance practice is going to absolutely be critical, because that's how you're going to be able to have the proper oversight for this. Another really kind of good analogy with that, when we're talking about, data and the foundation of that and what's really needed for that, specifically as it relates to these regulations, is like having a Lamborghini without oil, right? It looks great on the outside, but pretty much useless without the proper maintenance that's really going into that. And that's really what I look at. Data governance is helping to be that maintenance of the proper data that's going into that, that's helping these large language models, making sure that they're accurate, ethical, that they're trustworthy, and helping to establish those specific, protocols that are in there with data quality, security, compliance, providing that trusted data to ensure we know what we're actually putting into these AI models that are going to be lined up to these different regulations. But the other thing to this as well, in order to be successful, this isn't just a one-time activity that an organization is going through, or just a point in time project, right? It's an ongoing program, and kind of developing that continuous feedback to ensure that that maintenance is going on into that Lamborghini that you're probably still picturing in your head.
No, those are really great points. Hey, Deepak, what are your thoughts around this and these new AI regulations and safeguarding these risks?
Now, the key thing which we can anticipate for sure, which is the key trends, right, is that we will have a lot of governments working together for AI framework. Initially to look at the data privacy, but more so on how do we avoid the bias for algorithmic results, right? There is a programmatic approach for all of this AI and it's biased. How do you actually make sure that doesn't happen? Something which is very critical is the responsible, transparent, and explainable AI. This is going to govern the AI initiatives and the use cases. Just like Ryan touched upon the compliances, he already mentioned what GDPR was, now is turning into EU AI Act, right? There are different levels of tolerances for LLMs. For example, if there is a government entity, for example, if there is a recommendation for music, maybe the AI trust can be little low and the threshold is little low. But what about autonomous vehicles? There is no, or any government, there are so many bad actors. We have to ensure that all of this is the risk is managed, and then the LLMs should not have a mitigating bias and a drift, right? So it has to really be make sure that there is the level of tolerance is way too low for some of the higher value services, so to say. Everything can be tracked back. If you have to have these kind of results, everything needs to be really explainable and transparent in terms of having a great visual experience on how this data was actually provided. Should we look at it is the way the new AI trends will grow. And then something which one of the C-level told me is that while we work on piloting and pushing the production-based models, I feel that AI shouldn't make my smartest employee dumb. Meaning, if there is a question we ask, and I may say I'm an expert and an SME, I know the answer, and the AI gives a biased answer, then I have to step back and really think and second guess myself, and which is really not productive. It's a counterproductive, and that's the risk we run into of not having a right data foundation when we build all this AI tooling.
You hit on a point there, Deepak, and this is where I think capabilities within a governance program also come into play around safeguarding these LLMs, things along those lines, right? You're looking at capabilities around lineage. Where did that data come from? How is that feeding into the model? The data quality around that. How is that data being used across the organization? What's the meaning behind it? So, therefore you want to be able to have somewhere where you can go in and you can really kind of have better oversight and knowledge and governance of those specific AI models. Again, supporting the different aspects that you talked about, bias strip, along those lines, but also how do these different models tie into these different regulations that are also coming up?
That's correct. And increasingly, the risk of not having this includes like operational risk, but more importantly, the reputable and the legal risk which companies get exposed. And it's going to be extremely counterproductive for all of these AI initiatives.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That reputation risk has already been felt by a number of companies, I believe, including Google and some others out there, right? So it's definitely something that can pop up and bite you really quickly. You guys are really, and I love your term there, Ryan, with the, data is the lifeblood or the oil of the Lamborghini, right? And in your comment, Deepak, of automating this process, right? Making sure that, the right alerts are out there, that, that you've established those tolerances, that you've put these, taking the time to put the tolerances, the alerts, and proactively making sure those alerts are out there are really, really key, because, that bias and drift are definitely something that can hurt a big company or any company at this point. Hey, how do you get ready for this? Is there a blueprint? How do you get your data ready for AI? And, can you use things like Informatica's Claire GPT to really help you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Chris. So, Informatica, we just launched earlier this year, our Claire GPT product. So think about it as a way to be able to interact with all of your data across your enterprise just using natural language processing. And so one of the things that really stands out with this is the ability to kind of create those customized blueprints and those different strategies, again, that are tailored really specifically to your business. Because what Claire is doing is it's helping to understand the underlying data within your organization, the metadata that's around that, the different quality, how it's being used, and being able to provide a lot more automation into that. But it's really providing you better actionable insights into the data that you have and helping to provide those recommended best practices that are in there. So in my opinion, I think this really helps to automate and really make your data strategy much more robust, and ensuring that you're really getting the maximum value out of those different AI investments that you're making within the organization. And that could be through a lot of different things. And I look at this both from the technical as well as from kind of the business side, whether that's really kind of automating the data integration of being able to create, again, using natural language processing on those data pipelines, being able to have kind of your least technical user in your organization being able to ask a question to find that trusted data in order to make those better business decisions, and really positioning that organization to help, again, automate and accelerate that different strategy for their AI.
That's great. Deepak, what are your thoughts?
I would take how actually we can look at, well, Ryan explained, I would actually double click on how we can help our customers go into this blueprint, think about it, how we can actually help them achieve the AI initiatives, success in them, also mitigating the risks, which we just spoke about. So Paradigm, our team is all certified Informatica. We are aware of the latest and greatest, and we have been spending a whole lot of time following the AI trends and the market. Our experience with working through other hyperscalers and also getting the data from other data sources, automating the ingestion framework, but more importantly, explaining the value of Claire GPT to the wider customer base, explaining the fact that we really do not have to retrain the AI, all the staff with being AI engineers, but just using Informatica as a platform will just enable them become AI engineers. What that really helps in the process of this blueprint is that it'll help them cut the data classification for up to 50%, data discovery for around, they'll enhance working. Their productivity goes 100% higher for data discovery. Productivity is much higher across the development of AI initiatives, and they are able to uncover data insights which were not existent at all, right? Now, under the hood of Claire GPT, it's very important to understand how Informatica has come up with this innovative, brilliant solution with governance, right? Ryan actually knows this in and out, but let me touch upon this and hand the ball over to him to give more details. Under the hood, Claire GPT is just like a Chat GPT, but more for the data. You can ask the questions like, hey, where is my, any complex question. There is the backend visual, not only just the answer, but this is the beauty of Claire GPT working with the data governance suite of Informatica, that it generally exposes the explainability and the transparent lineage across how the data is coming in, how am I actually giving you a context-aware answer. So if I am not really sure, I can go back and look at how the answers were, the questions to the data were answered. That's not possible everywhere else, I'm pretty sure. And this is one of the features our customers really love.
Yeah, and that's something as well, our customers love as well. And you hit on a couple of the technical aspects that are there, but what this really comes to is you moving away from these single point solutions. It's going to not allow, in my opinion, your AI strategy to accelerate. It's going to become more disjointed, right? So you want that integrated solution that's going to be very comprehensive, across. So you're looking for a platform, and that's a platform that Informatica can only really bring with our intelligent data management cloud, right? That seamless integration that's bringing all these capabilities that you really need within an AI strategy around governance, cataloging, quality, integration, master data management. So again, all real key capabilities within kind of one platform.
That's correct.
Sorry.
Yeah, so proactively, right? Proactive monitoring and adaptation of this, which we touched upon, is that it's not one time done, it's a continuous process, but having that framework of ongoing monitoring, evaluating the AI results, evaluating the governance practices from a proactive and a strategic approach to AI governance. All the organizations, with the help of a data platform such as Informatica, I think can really unlock full potential to their AI initiatives and accelerate those journeys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys more. I mean, the combination of, the platform of Informatica and Paradigm's, execution blueprint and our experience in that really can drive a lot of value for clients, especially if they're embarking on this journey, or even if they're, semi-mature. But, that kind of brings me, Ryan, you talked about some great use cases earlier with PayPal and Mayo. What are some of the use cases, gang, that you've been running into that, clients have really accelerated on with, Claire GPT?
I think some of the use cases where they're just able to accelerate on is just the easier to understand, kind of my data, being able to interact with the data, where we're all starting to become more accustomed to using these different types of applications. That Claire GPT is really allows people to kind of resonate with. But it's like, a great example. I'm sure we've got quite a few people on kind of the technical side, but think about how you're currently building your mappings out today, right? It's going to be much more manual. But just imagine living in a world of just using simple natural language on your data warehouses like Snowflake or Databricks or Google BigQuery, that allows you to now generate new data products for creating those pipelines just automatically, just again, by just typing in there, because Claire already knows where your data is. It's already made those recommendations. It already understands kind of what are the best next logical steps for serving that data up to the organization. Another great example of, we have a medical provider where Claire GPT was really enabling their clinical teams to help to quickly find information what used to be like raising an IT ticket or a trouble ticket. Instead, now they're able to go ahead and instantly find that information, helping to achieve better patient outcomes. Again, I also mentioned earlier, your least non-technical user in the organization, right? They can come in, a brand new person to your organization. Maybe they're in, week 3 or 4. Now just being able to go in and interact with Claire, they can go ahead and find that type of data that they really need to use, instead of having something like SQL guiding them through finding that relevant data. So I think it really ties into helping to create that quick and that real-time value with those different use cases. We touched on a few before, but financial data management, supply chain logistics, risk and compliance. There's really kind of a use case in there for all aspects of the organization that Claire can go ahead and help and accelerate.
Those are great use cases. Thanks, Ryan. Deepak, what are some of your thoughts there?
So I think these capabilities which Ryan just spoke about are what we are seeing. And then some of the things which we think about is how can we go into this fully automated. The pain points which generally organizations have is the onboarding of the data. It would be great, like Ryan mentioned, just to have our new coding languages, just English, right? I would just type in, I need the data, and it doesn't need you to be an AI engineer, doesn't need to have a great knowledge in prompt engineering. None of that. Informatica has taken all of this heavy lifting and then made a model which is proprietary, and then it is organized. It doesn't go to internet. It only looks at the data which is the organization. And when you ask a question, it's going to reliably get the data in. If it is, for example, Ryan touched on Snowflake. If the data is in Snowflake, I could just write a prompt saying that get me the data from Snowflake. Once you get the data from Snowflake, can you add these transformations? Once you added these transformations, can you make sure it's all auditable? Meaning, when I want, I can go back and I got to get a visual lineage and everything. So all of this, I could just talk to Informatica. It's a huge productivity. I do not know if there is any other platform which has such an intuitive experience for customers.
No, that's great. Very good points, Deepak. I mean, the ability to empower users, as Ryan mentioned, really, driving use cases around compliance and risk, supply chain, financial management. These are all really big impacts that Claire and AI does have with the right data. We've covered a lot of topics, but let me just run over and check the QA area and see what questions we have. Hey, the first question I see is somebody asked us, what are the initial steps we should take to assess our data readiness for AI implementation? Kind of going back to some of that blueprint stuff. Ryan, do you want to grab that one?
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Great question. I think kind of thinking about different ways of how you kind of want to break this down into those kind of, more micro initial steps. One, just being able to do kind of a comprehensive data audit to evaluate what you currently have there. You're looking at like data quality, the completeness and the relevance of the existing data for that. Understanding how that data is really kind of being used, where it's coming from. So kind of thinking about the lineage aspect there. And what that's really going to help to do is help to identify any of those gaps or inconsistencies that you might have where data infrastructure would be able to help to support those different AI workloads that you're having. And then the last piece of that, of what's really going to help to enable those steps to be successful, is really helping to stand up a data governance program, really supporting those best practices to ensure that that data is actually being managed effectively and securely, really kind of throughout the long AI journey that you'd be embarking on with this project or program.
No, those are great points. Hey, another question we've got, gang, is how can your company assist in identifying and prioritizing AI use cases that will, deliver the most value for the business, sort of that power of paradigm kind of thing, I guess. Deepak, I'm going to throw that one off to you.
Sure. Here is the breakdown of the methodology, right? So this is tested, proven by experience, being in industry for 30 years, solely focusing on data management, keeping up the trends. So we start with our deep dive into business operations. We thoroughly understand the business processes, pain points, where are the manual processes, strategic goals. We go through workshops at C-level, interviews, data analysis. Then we look at your infrastructure readiness, technology capabilities, and identify applications which are AI potential. Once we do this, we work with platforms such as Informatica to get a comprehensive features which can accelerate these AI initiatives. AI, generally, when we start, our exec sponsors generally say it's a daunting task. We have been we actually come out and tell them it should not be. And the way it should not be is just taking the composable parts of that. And there is really a lot of acceleration built in the products like Informatica. And then we can get these hyperscaler integrations very easily. And then we also look at not hiring new AI engineers or staff requirements, but retrain many of these to actually use AI capabilities, which are with the existing Informatica knowledge. And then we prioritize and have a prioritized roadmap for AI implementation, outlining the sequence of necessary projects, milestones, and steps. And this structured approach really, how it helps is to maximize ROI and maximize the efficient use of the resources. And obviously, we take our principle is security first, it's sustainable, it is going to be ethical AI strategy aligned with the business goals.
Thank you, Deepak. Good answer. Hey, another question that popped up is, hey, how can we establish effective data governance practices? Everybody wants to ensure the integrity and security of data throughout their AI initiatives, but how do you establish those effective governance practices? Do one of the two of you want to jump in there first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start and pass it over to you, Deepak. We've got a saying here, and we've had it for a long time when you're really kind of thinking about governance and setting that up is think big, start small, scale fast, right? You want to be able to make sure you're doing something that you're going to start to achieve ROI on, quickly and not waiting, 6, 12, 18 months in order to do that. But you want to be able to make sure that you have a solid North Star in which you're really trying to march towards. And so I think part of that is, being able to start, defining those different data policies and the standards that are going to align to the data quality that you're looking for within your organization, and starting to create those different frameworks, having different stewardship roles out there, depending on the type of model that you want to go to. You can go with a federated governance model. Again, it's going to kind of be whatever works for your organization, but you want to make sure that you do have those stewardship roles that are in place. Having a proper catalog going out there to help with the automation, tagging, identification of the data that's there, and then making sure you just have that data audit, that usage track that's there. But again, to make these programs successful, it kind of goes back to the think big, start small, scale fast, is you want to make sure that it's sticky and you're tying these to key business initiatives and drivers. Where I've found governance not being successful within organizations that I go in and talk to who are taking their second or third run up this is because things haven't really been anchored to those key strategic business drivers that are there. And I know, Paradigm's a fantastic partner that can really help our customers uncover that. I know, Deepak, you probably got some examples there.
Yes, I do. So many of our customers ask us the same question, and then we start with here. The fundamental building blocks for any governance for AI is, data quality, data security, privacy, governance framework, lineage, and then retention or, deletion policies, ethics, AI ethics, and then how do you have the continuous monitoring? How we generally help our customers is to develop this framework and then take the use case, which is exactly what you said, is think big, start small, show the quick success, build on it, and then get the organizational congruency to make the data governance group more visible, have those enforcement capabilities. Implementing these automated data quality, data privacy, and then providing the training and awareness for the existing group, actually showing the value and the strength of Informatica data governance and how it can tie into AI initiatives is something we help all our customers with.
That's great. Thanks for answering those questions, guys. I think we've hit a lot of topics today. We talked about laying the foundation for AI and how important data is there. Talked about the AI regulations and where they're going and what you need to do to kind of automate and get ready for that. We've talked about blueprinting, right? How do you leverage the Informatica platform and the Paradigm blueprints to really drive forward in this program? And what are the use cases, really? How do you take those business use cases that drive that adoption and the utilization to really impact those business decisions? I would love to thank everybody for coming out today and joining us. If a lot of folks ask, how do I start? Where do I go, right? And really the key thing of how to start is, understanding your data. So a couple of, next steps or call to action that we could give you are one is an AI assessment or a data assessment. Deepak and the team have done this numerous times with many customers across the country, and with the help of Informatica to really identify, where the data is, how it is, where's the lineage of that data, and we're, provide you a quick, couple-week assessment to get a framework around where your data is, so you know where to go. Another one is just getting a Claire GPT demo, and we can either help you find the right people to do that. Ryan can, or reach out to your Informatica rep to walk through what that demo looks like and what kind of things is Claire able to answer for you, because it's really an incredible tool to the overlay on the platform and really have an impact. Another one is 60 days to success. Some quick win implementations. So implementing both the data platform and the Claire GPT component. So we have some 60-day opportunities to help you accelerate that process. And last but not least, we can share, the Claire GPT data link, data sheet, the links to that and that kind of stuff. So I want to thank you again, Brian, Deepak. You guys have been amazing. Really appreciate your leadership, your thought leadership, what you're doing for all of our joint clients and clients out there, and really appreciate you both. Thank you very much. Very grateful for you. And Nicola, thanks for putting this together, and thanks everybody for joining us. If you have further questions, you can also tap into this, as Nicola said, via YouTube links and other distributions that we'll put out there.
Yeah, the feeling is mutual. Thanks so much, Chris, for moderating, keeping this conversation engaging. And then Ryan, thanks for your expertise and insights.
Absolutely. Appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Make it a great week.